and welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, affectionately known throughout the United States and internationally for the last 30 years plus as the Money Lady. And today I'm going to be talking to you, my viewers, my faithful viewers, up close and personal for the next hour. And I want you to sit down because I've got some things I want to share with you from my heart, from my mind, and just my philosophy with regard to wealth, with regard to health, with regard to legacy, which is wealth, money, which is riches. They're not the same. They're not the same. And what you need to do to make this year a great year for you. Now, I'm just going to be open with you. I got to be open with you because so many of you that are watching are struggling, literally struggling, trying to figure out how to get through the day. Many of you are struggling with finances. You don't have enough money. Doesn't matter what your income is. You still don't have enough money. I was watching Susie Orman the other day. I respect her. She's in my industry. She's proven. And she was dealing with people, just regular working people, who thought they had done well and basically were broke, struggling, and didn't have much, $100,000 a year. God help those who were barely making $20,000 a year. What is their story for the future? And I must share with you, viewers, that the issue of money and finances is significant. But even more significant, and I'm going to touch on this today when we talk about the subject of wealth and wellness, is health issues. And the sad statistic, really sad, that 7 out of 10 of you is going to leave this earth with some kind of a chronic illness, such as cancer, heart disease, diabetes, advanced conditions which have no cure, dialysis, which is caused from kidney failure, and on and on. That's serious. Some of you that are watching know I'm telling the truth. When you were young, it didn't matter if you ate all that food and smoked cigarettes and did whatever you did because you were young. But when you got in your 40s and you began to really start having challenges and problems, and then by the time you rolled into your 60s, ball game. And I say ball game because from 60 on, it becomes a real problem. And you've got multiple medical issues. Things are just not looking good, okay? They aren't. And sadly, many of us start leaving Earth from complications from these issues that were entirely controllable and preventable. And now you're dead. You don't get to see your family, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. It's a rare bird that lives to 90 plus and is able to engage in a healthy way. See, to me, if you're going to get old, and 90 is definitely not young, you want to be healthy. You don't want to be infirm and barely able to move around. That's not called aging with grace. That is called aging. But that's an issue, and I want to talk about that as well in the whole discussion about wealth and health and just trying to live a way that honors God and honors your family, your wife, your spouse, your significant, what that honors. And sometimes, like it or not, people like myself have to be the ones to kind of say, wait, time out. We're not going to have any more pet you on the head and say it's okay. It is not okay. And I'm going to tell you why it isn't okay. It's not okay because God did not put us here to live like rodents and animals and to scrape through life. He gave us the ability to choose. to optimize situations and to seize opportunities every day. He did this. Another area that I want to talk about today, while we're talking upfront and personal, is I want to talk to you about family relationships. Oh, no, she didn't say that. Oh, yes, I did say that. I'm talking about what happens when you've lived your whole life doing your own thing and you're estranged. Your kids don't love you. The dog bites you. You don't have friendships that are substantive. The richness of life is in your relationships. And those relationships begin with your family. And like it or not, God just has an awesome sense of humor. And he gives us families that are just like a garden. Everything's in there. Everything. And yet that is our blood lineage. Those are our family members. So many seniors that I encounter are estranged from their children, do not know their grandchildren, are superficial in their relationships with their children and their grandchildren. Why? Because frankly, they messed up when they were younger. Their children were not a priority. They did what they wanted to do. And now here they are in their older years. And they can't even get their children to return calls. Children don't talk to them for years. I have encountered seniors who hadn't spoken to their sons or daughters for years. What's up with that? And when I share with them, and this I want you to take to heart for those of you that are estranged, it's deeper than you saying, I forgive them for not being open to me. It's about you going to them and repenting. And you say, but I didn't do anything. Well, you did something, okay? You did something that so impacted on their heart that they don't want anything to do with you. It may have to do with you men, the treatment, how you treated their mother, especially boys. Boys are not feeling that. And they feel that if you were mean and abusive to their mother, then you're going to need to go back and ask for their forgiveness for your lack of compassion and caring and loving their mother. It's amazing when I share with people that that is a way to bridge the gap. How many older people say, man, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, why? Well, because, I'm just not. And I'm like, your hard-heartedness is going to separate you from your family. And when you die, and you're going to die, your children are going to debate who wants to bury you. What a sorrowful commentary. And these are about family relationships, real stuff. I want to try to put some recommendations down that can help you to heal. Not just yourself, but to heal the family so that your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, if that's the case, will have a fighting chance out here. Because all training, good or bad, begins in the home. All training. So, if you never ever took the time to consciously and deliberately love your children, raise your children, correct your children, guide your children, and most importantly, to be an example for your children, and they come out and they're running around doing everything, then you have but to look to yourself. So one of the things I say is forgive yourself, because like it or not, this is what you've got. The Bible talks about training a child in the way he or she should go, and that they will never depart from it. That's such a hard saying, but that's what God said. So the training, the exposure, all of those things that make up a child's beginnings are going to be there with them. In fact, psychologists say that by the time a child is 10, they've already formed their opinions and impressions about themselves, about you, about life, all those things that are so needful and critical to ensure that they get through it. They've already codified that by 10. So from that point on, it's just polishing and refining. Okay? So I hope you don't turn off this program because I'm really committed. I am hurting. This is the truth. I am hurting because I see a generation in front of me that is ill prepared for the realities of life in the United States and life on this planet where there are all kinds of people doing all kinds of things. And we want our children, I hope you do, to be not only well equipped, but to be racehorses, to be stellar, and their attitude, their dispositions, etc. So let me go back, and let's start with my first premise, which is wealth. And wealth is essentially generational, meaning it's what you leave for the generations to come. Wealth is not money. And I have to share this over and over again because my focus as I've grown older, and yes, I'm 63, moving into 64, and that's fine, okay? I feel amazing, perfect health, workout, yep, thanks to an amazing woman I had on here a couple of years ago, Annette Richardson, changed my world, got me together, and I'm telling you, I'm fine. I mean, I'm great. I love it. I'm excited. And I want to be able to talk about those things to you so that you can say, well, if she can do it, I can do it. And look, let me stop right now. Least you think that I got it going on like that, you know, because we like to put people in classifications and categories. Oh, well, she's had this going, she's had that going. I have lived life just like everybody else out here. I've had good times, I've had bad times, and I've had terrible times. I mean, just like, whoa, Michelle, is your head on today? But I will tell you, it starts with you maintaining a positive, uplifting, cheerful, and God-centered consciousness, which simply says, I'm a child of the Most High God. And everything I'm going through, He already knows. And He's right there with me to protect me, to guide me, and to lead me if I let Him. Simple, but most people are so caught up in spinning around, trying to impress everybody, trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills and get through the day, that they never look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture, viewers, is really about you living a life that's worth living. And that when you do come face to face with the King, you can say, oh my God, what a life. And you took me through this, and you brought me out of this, and you sustained me, and you fed me, and you comforted me. And I'm grateful. And I'm going to say that because it is about being grateful. It is so about being grateful for everything. So I just want to clear the air because the fact that I'm the money lady, and a lot of people are kind of buzzed by that, like, what does that mean? I said I'm an expert on money. That's what it means. Oh, I thought you would lend money. No, I owned a mortgage bank. Yeah, I know how that works. But I am the money lady because I know everything about money, which is no money and tons of money. Resources, people, that's all a part of what I do and I know. And I'm honored. I'm honored and privileged to be able to bring to you information, people, resources to help you to get through stuff in the realm of money, known as riches, because money is measurable, tangible. You either have it or you don't. But money, riches, are not wealth, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's like my dear friend Sam Pitts. You can Google him, multi-millionaire man, who schooled me 20-something years ago about money. And Sam started out very humble as a Methodist minister, so you know he was broke. And God gave him an insight that changed his world. He is the father of the secured credit card. This is a man that knows nothing about banking, nothing, but he figured that if he could find a bank that would believe in his program, which is if you put $500 in the bank would issue you a credit card and charge you to issue you a credit card, but you would borrow against your own money. Isn't that something? The secured credit card, the father of the secured credit card in the United States, is my very personal and dear friend Sam Pitts, who came from nothing, but God gave him one idea. And then he had to work it. It didn't come down from heaven. I'm sorry, folks. I do not aspire or ascribe to money cometh to me. I will tell you that this is what does happen. God will give you an insight. Bam! I can do that. And then it's going to be up to you to work it. And that's where the hard part comes in. And that's where the discipline comes in. And then when you become rich, you find out that that's not all it is. Because you know what? You can't take it with you. There's not a person that a hearse drives to a cemetery who has a bank attached to the hearse or has a safe deposit box attached to the hearse or has their house attached to the hearse. Everything that you've accumulated, folks, is like Monopoly, really, which is something that Sam Pitts taught me as well, which is, you know, Michelle, life is like Monopoly. Everybody starts out at the same place. People buy stuff, people accumulate stuff. But at the end of the day, when the game is over, all the pieces go back in the box and new players. And that's the way life is, okay? All your riches stay for somebody else to benefit from. It's just a fact. And you go into a box or you're burnt up, called cremation, or you're donated, called donor, and that's the end of your story. But what have you left for the subsequent generation? And I just want to cut through this because I cannot hardly stand going to another funeral with these obituaries and these platitudes, and that person did not leave anything for the next generation that's measurable, tangible, those assets. Didn't leave life insurance because, who needs life insurance? Didn't have a house, because who needs to own a house? Didn't leave anything to facilitate a lasting memory for the next generation and the next generation. And for those of you that want to be scriptural, let me tell you something. Abraham left a legacy for both his sons, Ishmael and Isaac, or Yishak as the Jews say. And these men both became great, powerful, and wealthy men. And how do you think that happened? They had a good trainer. Abraham taught them and showed them the things that must happen for you to be a person of character and integrity. Yeah, for those of you that lie all the time, integrity, that's what that means. Telling the truth, even if it kills you, just tell the truth, okay? It's okay. It's really for you. It's not for the other person. It really is for you. So just tell the truth. But Abraham raised two giant men whose legacy is still out here. Look at the generation of the Jews who all stem from Yishak, or the Arabs who all birthed out of Ishmael. I mean, you talk about bank. That's legacy, and that legacy and that foundation created riches and wealth. I mean, I do not personally believe that all Jewish people are wealthy, but I must tell you, in my lengthy career in knowing them and being friends with them and knowing their background and history, I don't really know any poor Jews. I guess they exist, but the way their culture is developed and designed, they are considered God's special people, God's chosen people. And they are supposed to be elevated into that status. Now, I will say, in all honesty, that I do know of those who are of the Hebrew descent, Ethiopians, etc., who are absolutely having a miserable time. But that is not because of God's failures. That is because of politics. And that's a different story altogether. But I'm going to say, if you had to do a large picture of that particular group, that it's fair to say that they've done quite well for themselves for a couple of thousand years, longer than that, because of that covenant that Abraham had in place, okay, for both groups, the Arabs and the Jews. They still fight, but they still brothers. I mean, that's just family. So I tell folks, you know, when families start fighting, I stay out of it, because it's not my business. You know, it's a deep thing. It's a DNA thing. But I'm trying to say this because it really does begin and end with your families, and understanding that wealth is not riches. In Proverbs 10 and 22, it says that the blessing of the Lord, it does not say blessings, it says the blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich. Now, what does that mean? If it's not blessings, then who is the blessing? The blessing is God. The fact that you have him opens up the door for riches, which is money, and adds no sorrow. Okay? That's one thing. But God also talks about wealth not being riches. That's also in place. And it's important. Ecclesiastes 5 and 10. It talks about, again, the gift from God is riches and wealth. They're not the same. So please be clear in terms of your conversation. I am concerned about you getting both, okay? Which is not only the wealth of generations to come, where people can say that my grandfather funded my college. Or as I share with people, when I was at Connecticut College for Women at that time, a very prestigious women's school, my grandmother, who I love, and she's gone on, sent me $5 a month, which represented one day wage work. She was a day worker. She worked for a very wealthy white family, raised their kids, cooked, cleaned, and sent Michelle $5 every month, neatly wrapped in a piece of paper, stuck in an envelope with her own handwriting on it. What do you think that did to me in terms of my heart and in terms of my thinking? For this woman to give me one day of her work, because her commitment was, I want you to become what I could not become. Because I have a vision, but I'm looking to you to make that vision a reality. That's powerful, okay? That's powerful. She had to sacrifice so that I could benefit. And before you say, what's $5? Excuse me, $5 is a sacrifice for a woman who didn't have any other resources, okay? That's major. That's called legacy, okay? Which means that I knew in my heart that I had to fulfill her vision for me. In the same wise, I have raised my children to be ever mindful that there are people behind you that made it possible for you to benefit in this country and for you to step into the realm of greatness. Oh, there are moths and fleas all over the place. That's not your story. Okay, God made them too, but that's not your story. So don't start adopting moths and falling in love with fleas. Do what God has destined you before time to do, and become that great man and that great woman. That's in you, the DNA, the spiritual configuration is already in you. This is real stuff I'm talking about, okay? This is real stuff. I'm not preaching. I'm trying to tell you some things as the money lady that I'm learning and have learned over the years, okay, that it's all about this generational conversation and making sure that you step up to the ladder and begin to lay a foundation. How do you lay a foundation? Number one, if you have not bought life insurance for your grandchildren. You already know their parents haven't because their parents can't afford it. Okay? Why can't they afford it? I don't know. It's $10 a month. It's nothing. Okay? Under the age of 18, it's nothing. Permanent life insurance, $10 a month. Period. Every one of your grandchildren should have life insurance. Why? Because, not just because it's cheap, but because things happen to young people and they can get sick and not be able to get insurance. But most importantly, with a whole life policy, they can actually accumulate money, small but money in that account. Can you imagine what that child's going to think when at some point you give them the policies for them to make payments after they're adults, okay? And they realize that your sacrifice has enabled them to have money. Oh my God. Can you imagine what the funeral will be like when you die? And those grandchildren realize and know that grandma or grandpa paid every month for me to have permanent insurance so that if I wanted to buy a car, if I wanted to go to college, if I wanted to get down payment for a home, I have money accumulated. Because like it or not, life insurance is still the only vehicle that leaves the life insurance company on the hook, which simply means that if the child dies, they got to pay the full amount. Money accumulates, they can borrow against it, they can cash it out. It's just a beautiful vehicle. That's one way you legacy plan. That's easy, okay? That's easy. All your grandchildren should have life insurance. If you don't know a life insurance agent, give me a call. I write this stuff all the time. I'm not backing off on my position, which is the least you can do is have insurance on your grandkids. And if your children don't have insurance, sacrifice and get it for them. Because if they die without insurance, and a whole bunch of people under the age of 90 are dying, then, and there's no money, then you're into pass the plate? Oh my God. Oh my God. Really? Oh, you should be ashamed, because that's pathetic, okay? When you could have done better. I want you to do better. It's all about God giving us opportunities that we don't want to get to. So I'm here to help you to get to that one. For legacy planning, life insurance for your grandkids, great-grandkids. I had one lady that did all her great-grandkids as well because it's cheap. And she even got some for her kids because she knew in the bottom of her heart that if she didn't do it, they were going to be passing the plate. That's really not funny. But I applauded her for her vision. The second thing you can do other than life insurance is that you can look at the things that you have right now that are special, that you don't want to keep, pass them on. Trust me, they'll appreciate them now better than you will. Now, some things have very little value. All your silver-plated silver and all that stuff, that's sentimental, it's worthless. Don't try to get any money off of it because there's no money to get, okay? Unless it's pure sterling silver. It's silver-plated, dime a dozen, doesn't matter, okay? Your grandkids may want some for sentimental reasons. Pass it on. You can't keep all that stuff anyway, all right? You can't. The third thing you can do is begin to have an open conversation with them. Tell them what your vision is for them. Tell them how much you admire their creativity. Tell them what your expectations are. And then begin putting aside money for their college. Can you believe that? There are tuition plans in almost every state that will assist you if you want to finance your grandkids for college. Why is that important? Because chances are their parents are not going to be able to do that. And you will have the resources to do that. So that's, again, a part of legacy planning, laying a foundation that says that you love them and that you care. And it doesn't have to be a full paid tuition, but it should have some value to them, where you accumulate it and where you tell them, I'm doing this because I absolutely want only the best for you. And this is how I'm going to do this. This is what it means to me because Sally or Kinsey or what, you're special, and I'm willing to do that and make that happen for you. You can also consider If you don't have grandchildren, children, giving to foundations. In Dayton, Ohio, they have a foundation for African American who can make application for grants and scholarships. You can fund into that, okay? Powerful vehicles, powerful. You can even name them on your life insurance as a beneficiary. That's powerful too. You can even gift them your home and stay in it as long as you're living. That's a powerful vehicle too if you don't have children. There are opportunities to leave legacy, okay? But there's no value to legacy in leaving anything if you're sick, which is the other thing, which is, beloved, this is what the Bible says, beloved, I would that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. That's what the scriptures say. What does that mean? Your soul, which is the seat of your emotions and your intents, your behaviors, your compassion, if your soul's in good place, if your soul is doing well, then all things flow from that. So how do you stay well? How do you stay positive and happy? Well, it's work. But I'm going to tell you this, you choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad. It's your choice. You choose. You say, you don't understand. And I'm like, you don't understand. If you are miserable, your body will begin to release chemicals to help your misery along, including keeping you in an acid state. Your stomach is acidy, acid reflux, methane gas. All those things have to deal with your condition of your soul first. And it manifests in your tummy. Now, you say, well, a lot of that's from bad eating. Well, I will say to you, and why would you eat bad food? What kind of a conversation is that? You already know. If you got diabetes, you're not supposed to be eating things that are bad for diabetics, sugars and pork and all that. You already know that. So why would you do it? Well, because your soul is sick, okay? Your soul is depressed. Your soul thinks it's got it going on. So you wind up with complications from diabetes, including losing body parts and feeling more depressed. Oh, I lost my foot, I lost my arm, I lost. And I'm like, but why? Why? Well, I didn't think it was going to happen to me. What would make you think that if you're doing something that's going to kill you, that it's not going to kill you? Is that a sick soul? Yeah, that's called delusional, okay? And there are a lot of people running around that are delusional, and I'm not a psychologist, so I can't get into your stuff. But I will tell you this. Longevity is not in the cards if you have complications from diabetes. You will be dead. It is a fact. So, again, back to wellness. You can't leave a legacy if you're sick. Because one of the things about being sick, as you probably know, many of you, it's expensive in America to be sick. Oh, yeah. It's less expensive to eat healthy, but it is expensive to be sick. All those pills and medications that you're guzzling down, trying to live a little longer, are just setting the clock. And you're paying, unless you're indigent. And then that's Medicaid, and that's another conversation. And yeah, they do need help, okay? But many of you are not indigent, and you just paying. You're paying your deductibles, you're paying for medication, you're paying for high blood pressure, you're paying for all this stuff when all you had to do was order your steps in an honorable way, get exercise, walk every day, breathe, inhale deeply while you're walking, walk with people that are positive people. Don't walk with people that are gloomy people. I mean, you know, rain is all over the place if you want so. But why not accept the challenge of walk by yourself and sing to yourself, or walk with other people who are happy as well, and begin to turn that around so that you can live. Like I said, 7 out of 10 people are leaving this earth as a result of chronic illness. And the sad thing about it is that many of you, when you were healthy, didn't get insurance. So now you're sick. And you're like, but I can't afford insurance. And I'm like, oh, but yes, you will. And I don't know what you're going to have to do, and maybe the children have to pay the policy for you, but somebody better get you some insurance, because when you're sick, it's just more expensive. Oh yeah, I got carriers. I got people that can do Alzheimer. I got insurance companies that can cover you for all kinds of chronic diseases and conditions. However, you will pay a higher rate because you represent a higher risk. Remember, insurance companies are not in the business of paying out claims. They pay them out because they have to. But if they can minimize the risk by underwriting and reviewing you to make sure that you're not leaving Earth soon, then good for them. They're doing it right. For those of us, however, who have lived our lives any old kind of way, done whatever we want to do, because can't nobody tell your soul anything, because it's full of pride, full of, I know what's best for me. I don't need to listen to you, Miss Graves. You don't have to listen to me. Listen to your soul and make sure you have some insurance. Make sure that your wife who loves you has some coverage, okay? Because when you're dead, she's going to need it, okay? Because she's still going to live on. That's a fact. She's going to keep living. She'll probably live at least 10 to 15 years longer than you, and she's going to need help, okay? So, again, back to the issue of wellness. Let me give you a couple of tips on what you can do. You say, I've listened to enough. Give me some answers. See, here you go again. I'll give you some things that work for me. And again, I'm not perfect. Stop tripping. I'm a human, full of junk just like you are. I just handle it a little differently. The first thing, let me give you my typical day, okay? I'm up at 4 o'clock every morning. That is my meditation and prayer time. 4 o'clock in the morning is fourth watch. And that is the time that I set aside every day and have for like 25 years. I'm serious. To spend time ordering my thoughts. I read my Bible. I listen to worship music. I do not text and do Facebook, okay? Because that's my time. Now, at the end of that time, usually about 5:30, I get up, check emails, check work, get my day ordered, and then I walk, gird myself up, and I may walk a couple of miles. I mean walk, not plan, just put on my headset and I'm gone. Okay, boom, gone. And then I come back refreshed, take a shower, get my breakfast, and get dressed. And so by 7:30, I'm good to go. Everybody's still sleeping. Michelle's gone. Start my day. You know, I have a business. I have an office. I have all that going on. And so I'm good to go. I'm refreshed. I'm active. I take my vitamins. Okay, I eat a healthy breakfast. And this is how my life proceeds. Okay, it has proceeded like that for a long, long time. I work diligently, and I would advise you to do the same, to eliminate habits that are distractive and that are not productive. So I do call my mother because I'm concerned about her and my stepfather. I love them both, and they're older, and I'm always going to call them and say something that will irritate them. I love to irritate them. And then I'm gone. I do not take calls, period, during the day that are not business related. Why? Because my time is precious. And if I'm going to talk to anybody, it's going to be about people that I love and concern myself about in terms of their finances and their financial situations. So, end of the day, I do my lunch. I usually pack my lunch. Why? Because I don't want to spend the money. Okay? Now, if you got money like that, go wherever. Have a great lunch. I do eat lunch sometime with friends, but mostly I fix a big salad. I have an apple. I fix some green tea. And that's what I have for my lunch. Pretty ritualistic. Doesn't change much, but that's okay. Food is to feed my body, keep me healthy. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Sleep is probably the most overlooked thing for most people because they don't get enough sleep. Okay, sleep is rest. Some people say, I can't sleep. I say, because your body is conditioned and programmed to respond to your thoughts. and your thoughts are not pure, your thoughts are not clean, your thoughts have not been filtered, and therefore you have a tough time going to sleep. But I would challenge you to start slow, but go to bed at a civil hour, 10, in the bed, and then get up, as I said, and start your day. Make sure, and then you can go to bed earlier. You can go to bed at 9 or 8. It doesn't matter when you go to bed. But whatever you do, get your rest. Order your steps. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that are going to happen if you do this. This is all about this wellness thing. When you make up your mind that you're going to live a healthy, prosperous, exciting life, that it's going to be sunshine, not rain, your mind is going to start acting crazy because your mind has been programmed to be lazy, chaotic, undisciplined, negative, annoying. And as you begin to make a conscious decision that this is the way it's going to be, because I choose to live vibrantly, expansively, abundantly, your mind's going to start flipping. But I'm going to tell you something. Stay the path. According to a billionaire associate of mine, a billionaire, I mean, he's out of Australia. He is a billionaire, Mr. Daniels. He said it takes 120 days to break a pattern, a mindset, okay? 120 days. That's why people give up on diets. They're just about there. 120 days. Don't expect anything miraculous because it's work to change the neuron patterns in your brain, to kill one set of patterns and to birth a new set of patterns. Your brain is willing to become whatever you say, but you've got to be patient with the process of becoming. Is that not a revelation? When people say, God, I'm looking to do great things, I say, be patient with the process. Because it took you a lifetime to get to this stuff. And it's going to take you more than a minute to break those bad habits. But I'm here to tell you it can be broken. It can be done. And I just applaud you for your willingness to say, I've had enough. You can stop smoking cigarettes. You can stop drinking alcohol. You can stop being around negative, toxic, nasty people. You don't have to tell them take a hike. You just aren't available. It's no deep thing. You're just not available. You don't gossip because you don't have time to gossip. And the other thing you don't gossip, and I share this with women especially, Chatty Cathy was a doll that made millions of dollars for Mattel. Your Chatty Cathy is not going to make you any money, okay? So just stop. When people bring you bad news, tell them, girl, I can't even receive any of that. Even if it's true, I don't want to hear it. But I bless you and I release you to your highest good because I know God's got some great things for you. I know that. And let it go. They will stop calling you because you're not open or interested. Isn't that funny about negativity? If it doesn't have a home, it's not going to stay. And you can say, man, I didn't know that. Or when you speak ill of a person that's down on their luck, you should not do that. You should be grateful that it's not you. Because as I share with people, all you got to do is live. Because life does not discriminate. It's going to come knocking on your door one of these days. And will you be mature enough and wise enough to ride it through and to count your blessings while you're going through it, knowing that you're going to be out of it? Some people don't come out of their mess. In fact, a whole bunch of people don't come out of their mess. They just compartmentalize it so that you don't know about it. But like I tell folks, I don't have to know about your life. I can tell you if you're a human, you have good days, bad days, and terrible days, okay? That's a part of being a human, and that God will sustain you through all of it. I know it because I'm a witness. I'm so serious. It just is what it is. I never thought I would be finished with raising children. Can you believe that? I raised 3 children by myself, and it was not pretty. I was broke all the time. Yeah, the money lady was broke. Why? Because I was sending them to private schools. I was trying to keep them positive, and I was the sacrificial lamb because that's what parents are supposed to do, okay? You can't be finger popping and getting it on when you got little people. You have to be a holy example so that they will order their brains and they'll be able to be productive and useful citizens. That is what happens. This is what I tell young women all the time. I don't judge your lifestyle, but you're going to pay for that because you have children and they're watching you at the great ripe age of 12 years old when they officially become crazy. Okay, at 12, hormone, boom, boom, boom. They're going to give you your story. And it's not going to be real pretty because they're going to be repeating to you what you showed to them. So you don't want that. You want to be patient and you want to be caring. And if you're going through tough times, I'm going to say to you, embrace your church, embrace people that feel like you do in terms of honor. God will send you what you need if you're ready to get it. If you've made a decision, this isn't going to work for me, okay? And it's okay because they really do grow up faster than you think. And they'll be going to prom and going down the aisle in college or military or whatever young people do today. They will be out. And hopefully the report that they leave for you will be a good report. I love my children. They're so unique and different. And they laugh about stuff we used to do. Because I was an organic foods fanatic 35 years ago. I was like, you ain't eating that. And they talk about how they'd sneak and get food because they didn't want me to say things about it. But the house would smell like that food. And young people are so silly. And I'd be like, really? Methane gas tonight? Okay, stop it. So, again, that's a beautiful thing about moving ahead. But I want you to focus on you and about getting your life in order. And it starts with wellness. It starts with eating healthy. It starts with exercising daily, walking daily. I don't want to hear that 2 or 3 times a week. I believe you need to walk every day and exhale. It's meditative. It's cleansing. It'll help you to get through a lot of your frustrations. It really will. And in the final analysis, you'll be healthy. You'll be able to think clearly. And then you'll be able to set an example and lay a roadmap for your children and your grandchildren, which is very important to me. Let me share something with you. I've been handling money and finance since I was a child. Can you believe that? I was the girl that the guys came to borrow money for the dates, you know, and I was ruthless. I'm not going to lie. I was a little kid, and I was like, you take me borrow $1, you got to pay me back $2. They like, $2? Well, then I'll just keep my $1. And grew up to basically do the same thing in the money world as a banker and financier and all that stuff. But, and I say this, but very, very real. Money is a conduit. How you manage money tells more about you than anything in the world. That's the reason bad credit is an issue. It's not so much that you didn't pay your bills on time. That's bad. But it's about not willing to do the steps to ensure that you could pay your bills. Okay, we just get another job, pay your bill. Or don't do the bill. When you see something that's tempting, don't buy it. One of the things I tell women all the time is you don't have to buy in a store. You can buy in a thrift store. You can buy in a consignment store. Or you don't have to buy at all. You really don't. That's a choice. If you're a person that cannot avoid shopping, then take $10 and go to a thrift store and see what you can find for $10. And then get that out of your system and be gone with it. Don't credit card use because you already know. You already know. You're maxed out. You can't figure out how you're going to make things work. You're not making enough money. Aha, you're not making enough money. But it may mean in not making enough money, you may have to get a second job. It may mean you have to create your own income. If you like to bake cakes, sell them, okay? I'm so serious about this, and I listen to this every day. Let me say this as a sidebar. I'm always looking for people to hire to work selling insurance. I'm always looking for people to hire. Part-timers, I tell them extra $500, $600 a week will pay a bill. And you'd be amazed at the excuses I get from people, which is, that sounds like work to me. And I said, well, at the point you're making $600 for 2 hours of work, that can't be any worse than you making $10 an hour for 2 hours of work. But it's a consciousness. It's the work. Oh, no, that, you mean I got to call a person? Yeah, well, you call them because they called you first. So I got to call them, and then I got to schedule it. Yeah, you got to do that for $600. That's what you got to do. I don't know. I don't know. Okay? Isn't that crazy? Let me say something to all of you watching this show. If you would like me to hire you to make an extra $600 a week, call me. I'll be happy to talk to you. And it may be the extra money you need. But don't say I can't do this. A dear friend of mine said something that I felt was quite profound. Dr. Robert Watkins, who's CEO of Kings and Priests International, headquartered in Atlanta, amazing and powerful young man, humble man. He said something. He said, being broke is temporary. Temporary. But being poor is a state of mind. Poor, passed over opportunities repeatedly, meaning God gives them to you. You're like, yeah. God plops another, yeah. You know what? I don't know what to say. Wealth is not riches. Wealth is legacy. Riches is right now money. Money can come, money can go. Legacy is forever, generational. God's interested in legacy. He's also interested in riches because, you know, he was actually down here, remember? He knows what that's like when you don't have anything. Okay? So that's the first thing. Second is wellness. Doing the things that say you want to live rather than doing the things that say you want to die. Okay? Whatever you say, your mind's going to put into motion. That's the power of mind. Okay? It will put into motion your thoughts and actions, which is your cells say, oh, you don't want to live? Are you going to eat like that? Oh, you going to do that? Well, guess what? I'm not going to keep you alive. Okay? I'm going to succumb to cancer. I'm going to get sick. Okay? That's what's going on inside. And finally, your family. I've already told you about your family. Your family's the most important thing. If you got issues with your family, work it out. Humble yourself. Apologize. I had to apologize to my children about some stuff because I was young and stupid. Okay? And that's what I told them. I said, forgive me for being young and stupid. And then I laid out what I had done that was young and stupid. I didn't do any broad, I told them this is what I did. And I'm not only ashamed, but I asked your forgiveness because I was young and stupid. Can you do that for yourself and be free? Because once you can be okay with your family, you're okay with God. When you're not okay with your family, that's going to be a problem for you. May I encourage you in the last remaining moments, life insurance is basic, foundational. I'm sorry if you're tired of me talking about it, but the majority of people don't have it, okay? That's the truth. They either have not enough or they don't have it at all. And that's not good because that's money that passes to your heirs tax-free. Can you imagine $200,000 passing? If you don't want them to get it all in cash, you set it up in a trust and they get it per your instructions. That's still money. I'm talking real to you today. Hope you've enjoyed this time. Hope it's giving you room to think. You can always watch my videos on YouTube. Just type in Michelle Graves, The Power of Money. And stay tuned for the next segment coming up. And I just look forward to the opportunity to help you to maneuver your way through this. It's tough, but you can do it. I know you can. You take care. God bless you. Good being a part of your world. Thank you for being a part of mine.